What's up, guys? Tunea. So I asked you guys a couple of videos ago and earlier today if you have any questions for me and questions you have. So I am going to be addressing those questions in this video. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it is a Q&A video, and I don't think you can expect Q&A videos to be short. I try to keep my videos short, but you know. Anyways, let's just see what happens. I realized after I started working in a tech job, I barely have time and energy to do some other side projects or to keep learning and improving my software skills. And I feel not too good about it. Is this normal? Yes, it is. Okay, not really. I don't know if it's normal, but I definitely felt the same way when I started working. Let me share a little bit of my experience in this scenario. So my hustles were tutoring and photography. These were hustles I used to do from varsity, and they paid pretty well. You know, I managed to raise a lot of money using that. So when I started working, I had been watching finance videos, like personal finance videos, for the longest time since varsity. So one thing that's consistent in a lot of these videos is to have more than one source of income. I started my first job with this mentality, and after settling in, I would say maybe 2 3 months into settling in, I started advertising my tutoring and my photography and stuff. Started getting jobs, and within 2 months, I just couldn't handle it. I had to stop because it was just so much. So the first reason I stopped was I was just tired all the time. I would finish work at 3 o'clock, and then tutoring starts at 4 o'clock, and I usually had 2 to 3 hours tutoring sessions. And then after that, come back home, somehow find time to cook and eat, and then I would have to edit pictures from my photo shoots, and like after that I'm sleeping, wake up, repeat. It was just a lot to handle. Second reason was it wasn't worth my time. So photography, let's say photography for example, I was charging around 7-ish hundred rands per portrait session, and a session would last maybe 1 to 2 hours, plus time to prepare and travel time and stuff. And I would then have to spend maybe 5 to 10 hours editing those pictures, probably a lot more than that actually, to be honest. And like if you think about it, that's a very sad hourly rate, eh? The third reason why I didn't like that approach was it wasn't very scalable. The amount of money I could make from those hustles was directly proportional to the amount of time I spent on those hustles. And given the poor hourly rates, my earning potential was capped severely. Even if I increased my photo shoots to like 1,000 or 2,000 rands per hour, it was not nearly enough to justify the amount of time I'd spend on those. Anyways, my advice: sit down and decide what you want to do with your life. As for your career, like upskilling on the side, sit down and have a plan for your career. Like have a plan of where you want to see yourself in like 5 years or 10 years. The nice thing about your first job after varsity is that this is probably the first time you've had to make plans for your life on a purely clean slate, or sort of a clean slate. If you want to like be a pilot in 5 years, there are ways you can do that. You can actually like carve out a path towards that. If you want to do whatever you want with your life, make a plan, set goals, long-term targets, short-term targets, and you know, it becomes a lot easier when you have like specific goals in mind. Anyways, that's a longest answer to your question, but moving on. How long into your work life did you get to a position where you can start saving properly, monthly? I'd say maybe 3 to 5 months ish. The first few months I had to pay off a lot of debt because I had to borrow money to like graduate and like also get me to Cape Town and stuff. So like a lot of borrowing happened in my first few months before I was getting paid. So I had to, the first few months I was paying back a lot of debt, and I was also trying to figure out my budget. So after like 3 to 5 months, that's when I was like, yeah, I was able to like save consistently. This is definitely gonna be a long video, guys. I'm so sorry. Unemskane. No, I don't. What meal can you cook best? I can make some really good boiled eggs, eh? Okay, something a bit more serious. I love sadza and beef stew. I can make that pretty good. Yeah. Are you single? I already answered that one. Learned any new skills lately? I have actually, career related skills though. This whole year, for the most part of this year, also the part of the reason why I haven't been able to post on YouTube as much, I was working towards becoming a subject matter expert for the EC2 service. It's like an internal accreditation, but basically I'm an expert in the EC2 service within AWS, which is pretty cool because like it's like the biggest cloud computing platform in the world. So yeah, that's the new skill I have. I do want to do a few more certifications before the year ends, and I think I want to get into filmmaking. I really like. I mean, it would make sense for my YouTube actually. So yeah. I'm trying to buy a small car, and you said we shouldn't buy cars. Any advice? I did not say you should not buy cars. I was trying to discourage people from overspending when it comes to buying cars. If you're earning like 15, 20, 25,000 rands, then you probably don't want to get a car. But if you do have to get a car, don't get like an insanely expensive car. As for advice, I recommend that one, you pay cash. It doesn't make sense getting a loan for a car, especially if you're like early in your career. And yeah, I wouldn't advise that. Then next, if you can't buy the car cash, then try to have as big of a deposit as you can, like the most you can, 90% if you can, 50% maybe, but like try to pay down as much as you can towards that car to cut down on the amount of money you have to pay to the bank for interest, because the interest rates on cars are ridiculous. They are nonsensical. Better Health asks, I watch all your videos and I just want to know, are you gay? No, I'm not. I wonder if I give off gay vibes because it's not the first time I've had that question. But no, I'm not gay. I am attracted to ladies. Moving on. This is a good one. How do you balance saving money for your personal needs and wants and also black tax? I believe that this is a reality for a lot of young black people, especially those who come from a working class family. Yeah, I totally get you there. I also come from a working class family. Okay, so first let me just briefly explain what black tax is, because I only learned about this term when I came to South Africa. So black tax is basically the money that professionals have to like contribute towards their family every single month. In South Africa, black people call that black tax, but this is common in many other cultures. It just might be called a different term. I didn't grow up calling it black tax, so that's interesting. Anyway, so I think how to deal with it. I think first you have to like reorient your mind towards how you think about black tax. I don't like the fact that the word tax is in there is used to describe this practice, because no one likes paying taxes. When you hear tax, your heart sinks and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I pay taxes, yet I still hit potholes when I'm going home. There's no street lights on the road home. So I'm like, where are my taxes going? But like with black tax, I'm gonna call it black tax because like that's how we understand it. I just want to make it clear that I don't like that negative connotation, that the word tax brings. But anyways, if you're somebody who's considering black tax, or somebody who's expected to pay black tax, or if you've got siblings looking forward to you paying black tax, then there's a pretty good chance that, there's a pretty good chance that you did not get to where you are in life purely based to your own efforts. There's a good chance your parents had to sacrifice a lot to get you to where you are. Circumstances would differ with everybody, but our parents don't always tell us the kind of shit they go through to make sure that we live a good life. I've had these discussions with a lot of people, and an argument that I hear quite frequently is that your parents decided to have you and you were not there when they made that decision. So it's their responsibility to take care of you. And you know what? You're spot on. You're actually quite right. If your parents put in the bare minimum effort to take care of you, then yeah, I think I would understand why paying black tax might be painful, because they didn't do much to take care of you anyways. But if you come from a family where your parents sacrificed a lot to get you to where you are. If you're in a position to make their lives easier, I don't know why you'd not want to do that, you know? So, yeah, that's just my thoughts around like just how to deal with black tax. As for actually how to balance it and, getting to like the breakdowns and that. Saving and investing is very important. You're an adult now, you have your own life to take care of. You've got an emergency fund you need to make sure you've got sorted out. You've got investments to make sure that your life in the future is looking good, and you need to contribute towards that. So if you're in a position where you can't even save money or invest because you're paying black tax, I think you need to have a discussion with your parents. Talk to them as an adult. Make them understand, I need to invest, I need to have an emergency fund, I need to do this for myself. And you might be surprised, they'll probably understand. I remember when I was buying my apartment, I told my parents, I'm trying to save up some money here, and and they were super understanding. They're like, nah, you know what? Don't even pay us any money for the next few months until you are sorted out, because they understand, and I'm really glad they are that understanding. So, talk to your parents, and yeah, hopefully things will be looking better for your bank account after the discussion. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. How did you manage to get internships as a foreigner when most companies require you to be a South African citizen to qualify for an internship? Okay, so first of all, to increase your chance of getting a job after you graduate, this goes for not just foreigners, but even like any graduate anywhere in the world. To increase your chance of landing a good job after you graduate, you need to put in the work before you graduate. In my case, all the internships I had, I was a student in varsity. And the nice thing about most student programs, okay, I can't say most, but a good chunk of student programs usually are lenient to like allowing even foreign students to like join, because they're still studying in South African universities. For example, my degree has a requirement that you need to have like 8 weeks of industry experience before you graduate. So like it wouldn't make sense to have a requirement to work in order to graduate when the companies can't even hire you. So, there's that. So take advantage of your timing. You need to like make sure your CV is like proper. So that's the first thing. Take the time during varsity to like upskill and make your CV look good. My first internship was my CV was it had good marks. Actually, I'm pretty certain it was mainly because of my good marks, because I had like 85 or something for computer science. And I also had like lots of other random stuff on my CV, like orientation leader, house comm, and stuff. After first year, I couldn't find a job, and I felt like my CV could have been better. So when I started my second year, I was like doing everything just to make my CV look good, and that also definitely helped me get my first job. Because even during interviews, you have a lot to talk about from your own personal experience if you have done a lot of stuff. So so that's that. I have some videos on this channel where I talk a bit more about my time in uni and stuff. There's a video on how I make career decisions. That has been changing a lot lately, but I think it can give you some nice insights into how I navigate that that space. Just for that to be, I forgot to address this part. If you're a graduate, it will be much harder to get internships in South Africa, because you are competing against other South African graduates, and you're not going to win in that case. Like, I haven't come across a lot of graduate programs for graduate students which allow foreign students, unless if it's like a critical skill where even the local students aren't enough to like fill in those gaps. Okay, here's a nice question. Are you saving for retirement? I ask because a lot of Zimbabwean pensions saved over decades were decimated by inflation plus dollarization. Oh man, Zimbabwe. So 2008 was like a really horrible year for Zimbabwe. Actually, every year in Zimbabwe is a horrible year. But yeah, no, 2008 was like a special one. Like imagine you've saved up over 40 years, you've saved up like money for retirement, you've got unit trusts and trust funds for your kids and stuff. And in the space of just a couple of months, you're using that money to buy a loaf of bread. That's how bad things were. Like, I can't imagine being ruined like that, you know? So I definitely always have that in mind when I'm making financial decisions. Anyways, I wanna, because of this, I actually wanna make sure that as I invest my money, I have a diverse portfolio, and I also have investments that are resilient to this kind of Zimbabwean nonsense. If you think about people who owned property during those times, even though property prices probably suffered a lot, they could still sell that property in like US dollars and get, like some proper money, unlike if you kept your money in a savings account or whatever else was ruined by the inflation. So, yeah, I'm definitely still researching. If you watched one of my previous videos, then you will know that this is something I'm still researching. I want to research more. I want to understand investing a lot more to get to a stage where I can have like a really resilient portfolio. And if I get to that stage, maybe I'll share with you guys. Okay, next question here. What is the best investment fund right now in South Africa? Please give me details on the returns in terms of numbers. I have no idea. If I knew, I would not be having problems with investments. Okay, Kudzai Mike has 4 questions. I'll try to answer them as quick as I can. What are the minimum basics of a good camera? Oh, that's a very open-ended question. It depends on what you want to use the camera for. It highly depends on that. Maybe give me specifications, then I'll maybe share some insights on that. How did you start your YouTube channel? I was posting a lot of videos on Instagram and I quite enjoyed it, and I figured, why not just post this on YouTube and get paid for it? So that's generally how I started. Mutare, which side are you from? I'm from Greenside. Why are a lot of Zim SA graduates coming back to Zimbabwe after school? I can think of 2 reasons. One, it's really hard to get a job after you graduate in general, especially if you're a foreigner. So that's one. 2, if you did not study a critical skills degree, then chances of you getting a job after you graduate are almost zero. No company would want to hire you if you don't have a critical skill, a critical skills degree, because that company would have to prove to the government that they could not find any other South African with the same skills, which is kind of hard if you're a graduate, because there's a good chance you graduated with South Africans who are also looking for jobs. So if you have a critical skills degree, it's a little bit easier because companies can like just hire you without having to prove that they couldn't find a South African to fill in the position. So that's the second reason. Third reason is the other option they have is to continue studying in South Africa, but that's expensive and it wouldn't make sense getting a master's degree for a degree that couldn't even get you a job in the first place. So like you're just doubling down on something that clearly isn't working. So, the next best option is just to go back home and rethink things, So yeah, that's my best case. Okay, here's a question. Would you quit your day job to pursue YouTube full time with your current channel stats? Definitely not. I think I'd only consider quitting maybe if I start consistently making maybe like 1 million views a month. At that stage, I might be making like a reasonable income, especially if I start having like sponsors and stuff. Then yeah, I think somewhere around that figure. Otherwise, right now I'm still making like 40,000 views a month. Yeah, so it's gonna be a while. I'm in here for the long run, guys. Here's a question. How long did it take you to study for the Amazon interview? I'd say about a week. So when I got the interview offer, I asked for the earliest available time because I think I had like 2 to 3 weeks left before I had to leave South Africa to go home. So assuming I was going to get an offer after the interview, I still needed time to like sort out my documentation and stuff before I had to leave the country. So about a week. However, I had been going for interviews that whole year. Like when I started my 4th year, I knew that getting a job after I graduated was going to be super hard. So like I started like studying and preparing for interviews in the first semester, and I was going for interviews throughout the whole year. So by the time I got to the Amazon interview, I was very well prepared for that. So that's why I was confident that I was going to be good in a week. So yeah. What are your thoughts about the riots in South Africa? I try to avoid sharing political opinions on this channel because yeah, there's a certain group of people that doesn't like foreigners here. Anyways, my thoughts. I think South Africa lacks good leadership. Yeah, like if you think about the things happening in SA and you try to think of a reason why, you always come back down to the leadership. you know. Yeah, South Africa needs good leadership. What I like about South Africa is that, unlike a lot of African countries, your justice system is still somewhat functional, and you still have somewhat free and fair elections. So like people actually have the power to like elect good leaders. They have the power to make changes. But of course, politics doesn't make that easy. So, but I do have faith in South Africa. Which software do you use to edit your videos? I've been trying to learn DaVinci Resolve. I quite like it, but it's not very easy to edit 4K videos that have a lot of things going on. Like if you have a lot of transitions and like multiple layers and stuff, it becomes a bit slow. So Premiere Pro is still like superior in that performance space. But whenever simple-ish video to make, I just use Resolve. Like this video, I'm probably going to use Resolve for this one. How do you handle people borrowing money from you? Generally, I try to lend money to people who I trust will pay me back when they can. And when people borrow money from me, I ask them when they'll be able to comfortably pay me back. Like I don't give them pressure to pay me back, because generally when I do lend people money, I don't give them money that I desperately need. I don't make plans on money that I lend away to make sure that I don't end up in a scenario where I'm desperate for money and I need money from people I lent it to. So that's another thing. And I also don't lend out money that I can't afford to lend out, So yeah, that's generally how I deal with it. Do you plan on living in South Africa for the rest of your life? That's a tough one. I would actually love to live here. The only thing that's worrying me is, can you take a guess? It should be pretty obvious. It's the crime rate. Like, if I'm to stay here without starting a family, for example, I don't mind. I think I can take care of myself. I think I can manage taking care of myself. But if I'm to ever start a family in SA, then I don't think I'd want to raise them around the sort of crime you find here. I mean, yeah, you can find ways around it. After all, people do live in South Africa, but I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I don't know. I'm still deciding. How much do you pay for groceries in Cape Town per month? I think about 1,000 to 1,500 rands a month. But that's because I don't cook supper. I have a friend, my best friend Kombo has a business called Meraki Munch, where he cooks like home cooked meals at very reasonable prices. He has this meal plan where I pay 2,900 rands and I get 40 meals. So that sorts out my supper easily. And the money I spend on groceries is for lunch. I don't have breakfast, so I just have 2 meals a day. I cook lunch. Lunch is not that big of a deal to cook. Like 30 minutes, I'll be done, and I don't have to cook lunch, supper, which is really cool. So I'll leave a link to his Instagram if you're interested. What do you love doing besides travel and photography? I like gaming. I really enjoy playing games. I'm not good, but I do enjoy playing games. Currently, I like playing and watching Age of Empires. I really love that game. Call of Duty, haven't been playing that much lately. Forza Horizon, GTA 5 Online, really like that one. But they took it off Game Pass, which kind of sucks. But yeah, gaming. What's a memorable lesson you learned the hard way? Quite a lot, eh? The first that comes to mind is, if someone is exhibiting hot cold behavior, they're probably not interested, and they might not know that. So yeah, I learned that the hard way. Another one I learned the hard way is escalation of commitment is a thing. So yeah, those are two lessons I learned the hard way. AWS Security versus AWS Data Analytics path. Either one of them will be fine. There's opportunities in the cloud for both. What I'd recommend is that, well, the advice I'd give is that treat certifications like degrees, okay? If you don't have the experience to go along with it, it's kind of useless. So whichever path you do end up deciding on, make sure you also work on gaining experience in that path. If you can't find a job that will give you that experience, try to contribute to open source projects, try to build your own things, do your own projects using those tools, exhibiting your data analytics skills or your security skills. What has your experience been as a Zimbabwean living in South Africa? It's been great. It's been awesome. South Africa has given me so many great opportunities, and I will ever be forever grateful for that. I've made friends here. It's a really beautiful. I stay in Cape Town, which is a really beautiful city. So for the most part, absolutely love it. Of course, there are some not so nice things, xenophobia, for example. Because I'm on the internet a lot, so yeah, there was a time one of my videos was cut in very smart ways, and it made me look really bad, and I was trending on xenophobia Twitter. And I didn't even realize it until like a week later. Actually, I noticed like a spike in hate comments on some of my videos, but I couldn't figure out where, like, why now, like why out of nowhere all of a sudden. Then a week later I realized that I don't know, there was a video that was trending on Zen Twitter. So that happened. But you know, that's mostly online though. In real life, I very rarely come across such people, which is probably a good thing. So I love it here though. Love it. The acting adults are burnt out because what the hell? How do you make it stop? I have no idea, man. I don't think you can make it stop actually. You can make it more bearable, but you can't make it stop. So I'm sorry, you're in this for the long run. If you could pick one type of food to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be? Ah, anyone who knows me knows I love sadza and beef. So probably that, to be honest. Which tech degrees would you recommend to get a critical skills visa? Tech is a massive field. I can't recommend a specific degree. Actually, I would say the most versatile degree for tech is computer science. You can do almost anything in tech if you have a computer science degree, but that's not always easy to enroll in a comp sci degree because they usually have like high-ish requirements. And if you're not strong academically, then it might not be easy to get in there. So the next best thing would be maybe like an IT degree or an advanced diploma. I was looking at this. I'll link this PDF. I was looking at the PDF for the critical skills and what the requirements are. And I was surprised to see that some critical skills, you can actually get them if you have an advanced diploma, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'll link that in the description. But yeah, I can't recommend a specific degree. But yeah, those, at least the ones I mentioned, will work. Is systems analysis and administration a good career path? It's an incomplete career path. The reason I say that is because the world is moving very fast. Like for example, lots of companies are moving to the cloud, which means that sysadmins for those companies have to upskill to get, you know, cloud certified. So this is happening in a lot of different fields that where sysadmins are required. Sysadmins, that skill alone is no longer as good, so you usually have to like add on more skills as you know as your career progresses. However, it's a good start to get you through the door into tech, and then once you're in, you usually get a better idea of where you want your career to go because you have insights into like, you know, what's possible and what's not. So it's a decent career to get you through the door, but it's an incomplete career path. What are you most grateful for in life? Oof, a lot. Right now, I can think of my family. I haven't seen my family in such a long time, since before COVID started. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them, I think in a month or two. How are you doing mentally and physically? Not very good physically. I have not been exercising much, especially since COVID started. I haven't been exercising much. So I want to get back into, I've been waiting for things to calm down so that I can get back to exercising. But yeah, I blame COVID, but really it's just me being lazy. Mentally, not very well, to be honest. It's been a rough year, both at work and just outside work. So trying to balance all that has been taking quite a toll on me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just going home and resting, honestly, because I need a break from life. So yeah, that's that. I think that's the last question. Do I have any more questions here? Yes, some of these questions though, I'll just respond to you guys personally in your DMs. But yeah, that's it. If I left out your question, I truly apologize. Please do leave the question in the description. I'll answer it in a future video, or maybe on my Instagram stories. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you're still here, thank you for staying through because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a long video. Okay, yeah, it's like I forgot how to end videos now. Anyways, have a good day, guys.